to work with if I gave you this difference presented. Okay, you didn't have to find what angles to use, but if this was the difference that was presented, what you see is you're going to take the sine of your first angle, 225, times the cosine of the second angle, 60. You're using the same sign, so it's a subtraction. And then we take the reverse of that. So the cosine of the first angle times the sine of the second. And that's going to be your calculation. And so when you are working through these, what you're going to do is, again, if you refer to the unit circle, okay, the unit circle, you have an angle of 225, which is right down here, negative root 2 over 2, and negative root 2 over 2. And then you have an angle of 60 degrees, which is right up here. 60 degrees has a cosine of 1/2 and a sine of root 3 over 2, again, just from the unit circle. And so when you plug these in, the sine down here is negative root 2 over 2. The cosine up here is 1/2 minus the cosine down here is negative root 2 over 2. And the sine up here is root 3 over 2. So those are the values that you're going to calculate. If we simplify what we have, that gives us negative root 2 over 4. Minus and minus becomes a plus. Root 2 times root 3 is root 6 over 4. And so your answer is negative root 2 plus root 6 all over 4 for that solution. Let's take a look at this example here. So once again, you notice it's the difference of two angles inside of a sine, so it's the difference identity. So we're going to start with the sine of the first angle, 11 pi over 6, and then it's the other trig ratio, cosine of the other angle, 7 pi over 4. Same sign between, so minus, and then we just switch places, cosine of the first angle, 11 pi over 6, sine of the second angle, 7 pi over 4. So when we're identifying these, we look at our unit circle, and we can find at 11 pi over 6 is almost 1 full rotation. So the cosine is root 3 over 2. The sine is negative 1/2. And at 7 pi over 4 is almost, again, it's in the quarters here, almost to a full rotation. And so that gives you a cosine of positive root 2 over 2 and a sine of negative root 2 over 2. So those are your values that you're using. So the sine of this first angle is minus 1/2. The cosine here is root 2 over 2. Okay, the cosine of this first angle, so again minus, is root 3 over 2. And the sine of this second angle here is negative root 2 over 2. So there's the values we use. And when we simplify, we have a negative root 2 over 4. Negative times a negative is a positive. Root 3 times root 2 is root 6 over 4. So negative 2, negative root 2 plus root 6 all over 4, and that would be your solution.